Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to discuss about the main provision of the Act of 1861. In the previous video we have discussed about the what were the factor responsible for the passing of Act of 1861, where we have saw for the need of the decentralization, demand of Indians to reforms, and British liberal reforms and pressure for changes. Also, British desire to gain support from the Indian elites were the some of the factors responsible for the passing of the Act of 1861. Now let's see the what are the provision of the Act of 1861. So number one, changes in executive councils of the Governor General. So basically, don't do not confuse Governor General, as we have discussed that it was renamed as Viceroy in after 1858. So, under the Act of 1861, the Executive Council of Governor General was consist of five ordinary members and not four as before. Means earlier it consist in 1858 Act, after the coming of the 1858 Act. uh, executive councils consisted of only four members, but after in 1861 it was increased to five members, and the fifth member was to be a gentleman of legal professions, a jurist rather than a technical lawyer. He was not to be a lawyer and and was to be a member of the legal professions. So three of the five members and three of the five members were required to be person who must have served in India for at least 10 years. As we have in this 1858 act, we have also seen that this was the demands which was there also. So in this there was no change, and the governor general in council were empowered to make rules and orders for the convenient transactions of the business in the councils. And under this rule making power, Lord Canning introduced the portfolio system in India government. So basically, let's see what was the portfolio system. So portfolio system was like hierarchy, creating hierarchy for the governing of the different sections. As we see in modern democracy, one is prime minister, and there are certain ministers which controls different areas like education minister, coal and mining ministers. These type of ministers distributions are there. So basically it was introduced by the Lord Canning in the form of portfolio systems. So also in case of absence of governor general from the headquarters, if the governor general is not in headquarters, the governor general in council could appoint a president of council with all the power of the governor general. So governor general in council was also there. So later in video, do not get confused with this governor general and governor general in council. Later we will discuss about governor general in councils in very detail, and we will also talk about the main differences between them. So basically, in case of absence of governor general, if governor general for due to some reasons he is not in the headquarter, then the governor general in council could appoint a president of the council with all the powers of the governor generals. So it is like that, if a president is not available, then vice president can act for for that place of the president. So governor general was like that, and he was able to create the president. Also, the governor general in council could authorize the governor general alone. Governor General in Council was able to authorize the Governor General, and without upper consultations, without the consultation of the Secretary, he could authorize the powers to a person as a power of Governor General alone to exercise all or any of the power of the Governor General in Council, except those of the lawmaking power. One thing was that the governor general appointed by the governor general in council was not able to make a law, but rest of all the powers of the governor was given to that person. So number second provision of the Act of 1860 is that extension of central legislative councils. So numbers legislative councils under the act of 1858 was reorganized, and it consisted of governor general executive councils together with not less than 6 members and more than 12 additional members. So basically it increased the members to the 6 and maximum member to the 12. And it was as compared to that of 1858. So the additional member in the legislative councils were to be nominated by the governor general for 2 years. We will see later what were the important changes in the 1858 Act and 1861 Act. So basically, these things remain constant, that the governor general elect the members in the legislative council, and he has stay for only just for 2 years, and of them less than no less than half were to be non-officials. Means all the members that the governor general is going to elect, out of those half of members must be non-officials, and some of them of that non-officials members, some of them were required to be Indians. Number three, third provision was the Governor General General's powers to issue ordinance. The Governor General have power to issue ordinance, means law in which was to be valid for the 6 months, and but the one thing was that Governor Generals need to communicate to the Secretary of the state about the issuing of the ordinance. Means he need to give the brief, he need to give the reasons why he issued the ordinance adhyades. Number fourth is establishment of legislative council for provinces. But earlier, there were no legislative councils for provinces, and so through this act, legislative council were established in Bombay and Madras, and the Governor General was empowered to establish such councils for Bengal, Punjab, and northwestern provinces. So basically, in Bombay and Madras, in after the Act of 1861, it was established in the legislative councils, and Governor General was asked to further establish such councils for Bengal, Punjab, and northwestern provinces. So Legislative Council of Madras and Bombay was to consist of the governor, executive councils together with the advocate generals. Means the legislative councils of Madras and Bombay was very important, and their member itself was the governor general, governor executive councils together with the advocate general. Advocate general was also the part of that legislative council, and of which four, not less than four and not more than 8 members, uh, and along with four additional members, minimum four additional members and a maximum eight additional members. So and also not less than half on the additional members were to be non-officials. Means half members were required to be non-officials. हाफ से कम नहीं हो सकते थे, आधा से कम नहीं. Whatever the numbers between 4 and 8 is chosen as the members, but the thing is, if 6 is chosen, then uh, 3 is required to be non-officers. Also, these additional members and advocate generals were to be nominated by the governor of concerned presidency for 2 years. As we have seen for the bigger bodies, that governor general used to appoint nominate the members for 2 years for a legislative council. But here, as it is the legislative council of provinces, so governor of concerned presidency elected the members for 2 years. So the provincial legislative council was to legislate for the whole of the provinces, but every bill passed by it required the subsequent assent of the governor general. Ultimate role was of the governor general, and in addition to that, secretary of the state was also secretary of a state approval was also required. means that though the provincial legislative council was able to make laws for the whole provinces, but the bill required permission of governor general and the secretary of states, and also ultimately under the it was under the crown, means if crown found it not suffice or not in favor of the britishers, then she may disallow that law. Also, the provincial legislative council could not make any law without the previous sanction of governor general, as we have seen here that the permission of the governor general was required. And for mostly the things like uh, affecting public debt, penal code, coinage and currency, post and telegraph, military and naval forces. So if the law which is provincial legislative going to make consist of this any of these issues, then it would require the permission of the governor general. And these were the because these were the matter of the national importance. So in modern constitution also we saw the same things, that powers has been distributed between the central and the states related matters, and one is the common matter. So like agriculture is the state matter, so this type of thing. But similarly here, if the matter is of national importance, then the permission of governor general was to be compulsion. Now let's see the power of the central legislative council. We have seen that provision of sorry act of 1861 allowed the provision of the legislative councils. But and now let's see what were the powers given to this legislative council. So the legislative council was empowered to make laws for all persons, whether British or native, foreigners or others, and for all courts of justice whatever, and for all places and all things, and for all servants of the company in and outside the British India. So Central Legislative Council was main lawmakers, and uh, it was the law made by the Central Legislative Council was the subjects of all the members who directly or indirectly are in contact with the East India Company or British uh, British councils in India. So they all needs to follow that law. It could amend and reject any law prevalent in British India. So the power central legislative was such powerful that it can even reject the laws that were prevalent at that time. And the council found that it do not favor the British means upliftment. So also it could not introduce any measure. One thing that was one thing where the power of central legislative was compromised was that it could not introduce any measure relating to public debt, public revenue, religion, military and naval matters without the previous sanction of the governor general. As we have seen that as our provincial legislative council was also not able to that take ultimate steps or alone take steps alone in this central matters, national importance matter. And even central legislative councils was not allowed. So for now let's stop here. In next video we will discuss about the defects of the act of 1861.